here on campus with the Glencoe YellowJackets ladies soccer team, and I'm going to let everyone introduce themselves at this time, starting with Coach.
Craig Smith, head coach.
I'm Lady Bishop. I'm a senior.
Lindsay Smith, senior.
Macy Diggs, senior.
Bill Martin.
I'm Matthew Wright.
Yeah, in case you guys hear another voice, you'll know who it is. Bill, you want to start us out with the questions?
Yeah, I guess just kind of jump into kind of the team questions that we put together, and hey, everybody back. Welcome back. This is our second episode, and we're excited to keep it going here. So, Craig, just a little bit from last season. We were talking. I refereed a game where you guys beat the number one team in the state, and just tell us a little bit about last season, and then some expectations going into this season.
Yeah, last year we had a pretty impressive run. I was very fortunate to have, without a doubt, the best team I have had up to this point. Gonna miss some of those girls, but I really do believe they're gonna be. This group has got the potential to do whatever they want to do. It just kind of depends on how hard they want to work at it. Last year's group did beat the number one team, stayed number one for about 5 weeks or so, and then we ended up losing to that same team. It knocked us back down to 2 for the rest of the year. Lost in the playoffs to Donahoe, which eventually became Final Four team.
All right, so good group back, it sounds like, right?
Yeah, big senior class, 8 of them. So got a lot of high expectations.
High expectations. And that team is Susan Moore, and they continue to be in your area.
Correct.
This season, so there'll be some good battles between you two.
It should be.
So Lainey, introduced herself. She's a senior this year. A little background about her. She just signed at Reinhardt College. She's another one out of this awesome group of girls class that are signing from this area. And Lainey, tell me, you've been on a lot of good teams. Tell us about what you're excited about this season about the Glencoe team.
Well, I'm really excited just to get to work with a new group of people each year, and like Coach Craig said, work towards a state championship. We're trying to go as far as we can, and I'm just really excited to get to work with new people and play with the new team, and hopefully we can achieve like what we've set to get to the Final Four.
Okay. So Lindsay, we get a little bit of perspective even from you being Coach's daughter for sure. We hadn't dove into any of that yet, but. And your sister also, I think a cool thing about your family is she was the kicker at Jacksonville State.
No, just for Glencoe High.
Glencoe High. Oh, okay. Well, she kicked football for Glencoe. And so, Lindsay, you've been around sports, I guess, a lot with your family. And just kind of tell us about being the coach's daughter and what makes it fun, not fun, just some of that insight that you can give.
All right. Well, I've played since I was 3. Dad's been my coach pretty much the whole time. Intermittently, I'd have a couple other coaches to give me some new perspectives, but I never really learned from anybody like I learned from him. I feel like he handles our teams the best that I've had so far. And he's the hardest on me, so that helps me learn better.
Well, let's dive into that. How do you feel when he's not? How is he not fair to you? Let's dive into that.
How is he not fair to me? Well, if I do something wrong, which I do make mistakes, everybody makes mistakes, but he's much harsher to me than he would be to Lainey or Macy or another player, which it's fine. I get it.
He's mean to you, huh?
No, not mean. Just firm, stern.
Well, Craig deserves some of this because he gave me a lot of flack about my refereeing position on the soccer field. So we need to make sure we dove into this. So, Macy, you've been playing. I feel like we've seen you on the field for a long time. Did you start varsity at 8th grade?
7th grade.
So it has been a long time. So just kind of building on what Lainey was saying. What's the strengths? What is the offense going to win games for you? Is the defense going to win games for you? How are you going to win games this season? Tell us about how you're going to do that.
I mean, both are pretty strong, but like our bond is something that like unbreakable. We have times where we can just completely just goof off and go off the walls, and then other times we can just bring it back and be, like serious and work.
Okay. All right. So who's scoring goals this season?
Everybody.
Everybody. Okay.
Obviously, Lainey is last year's high scorer. She had 30 goals last year for the season. And she was one goal. If she had scored one more goal, she would have been our record holder. So hopefully she'll be able to break that record this year. And I didn't pull her. I gave her a chance, but she still wasn't able to get it. And that's fine. But I really expect a lot out of her, and especially Macy. The combination of those, and we have Katie Giles in the midfield, and we have a newcomer named Riley Dryner in the midfield. So I'm looking forward to that combination of those two, seeing how they can do. And then on defense, obviously I really believe we have the best goalie in the county, without a doubt. She is pretty incredible, especially when it comes down to penalty kicks and such. And her name's Deja Hammond. But I couldn't even begin to guess how many PKs she has stopped in the 6 years that she's been playing.
Well, we were kidding about the Susan Moore game because she actually stopped. I gave Susan Moore a penalty kick with less than 10 to go.
Yes.
Which was not popular at Glencoe for sure. But
it was after she stopped.
she made the save. That's what building the story. So yeah, she made the save, and that was where you ultimately took down number one. So Matthew, you want to do some follow-up questions with them about team?
Yeah, so let's start with Mason and then go over. So what would you say are some of your personal milestones or team milestones that this season you want to accomplish so you can look back and say, I was proud of this season that we had?
I'd love to win area again. That feeling after beating, who was that? Donahoe. Whew. Best feeling ever. I'd love to accomplish that again. And yeah.
Same for me?
Yeah.
I'd say area again. Probably want to try shooting a little bit more. I'm more of a defensive player. Pretty much I'm just focused on doing my job, having a good attitude, trying to be a leader.
I just want to build off what they said about winning the area, and I just think if we work really hard, then we can push ourselves and try to get farther into the playoffs and hopefully make it to the Final Four.
And I'll have to second most of them. Area is a big thing for us. We want to win the area. We've never been able to win a playoff game. We've had one every year except for one in our existence, and we've never managed to get a playoff win. And that's kind of something that's stuck in my craw a little bit. I really would like to get a playoff win. And if you get the first one, then the ball rolls and you get some steam going. And if they can win the first playoff game, then they've got a good shot at making it to Huntsville.
Okay, and then building off that, what would you say your biggest asset on this team to help you win that playoff game would be this year?
I'd have to kind of second what Macy said. She talked about the bond these girls have. This is a really good group of young ladies, and especially this senior class. They're all really, really close, and they've all been together for a long time. So I really believe the togetherness of the team will be what carries us through.
Well, I think just to finish up the team component, and it sounds like you're expecting a big season this season, so be excited to see how it plays out for you. But just kind of, each time we do this, we want to dive into some stuff outside the lines also. And so, Craig, you helped start Glencoe Soccer as a high school sport over here, and seen it from start to now. And just I guess just give us a little feedback of what are some of the major things you've seen, and where the game is going, and just some of that knowledge you've got from being out here that long.
Yeah, this will be year 8 for us, and we were pretty fortunate in the very beginning to have quite a few travel players, so we were able to make playoffs that first year. So I guess I'm kind of spoiled on the playoff part of it, just not getting the win. But over the years, I've noticed that the girls have come further, especially you take this class here. Some of them were playing as 7th graders and starting as 7th graders. Macy, her 7th grade year, scored their first goal of the season. And that's just to see the growth of these ladies over that period of time. As far as the game goes, it's pretty nice to see all these other programs starting teams. Hoax Bluff, for instance, just the game seems to be growing a lot more, and that makes me happy.
Well, Lainey, I think my question to you would be, so you have a lot of pride to play for your school, right? And so I guess just talk about a little bit of the fun that you're expecting to have this senior year with your team and being on the field. Just some of that, I guess drive and like I said, fun that you guys are going to have this season.
Well, like they were saying, they wanted the bond of our team, and I just moving here junior year, I was like really scared that I wouldn't fit in or have that closeness with these girls when I started playing with them, and I ended up moving in, and we've been able to play together and work well together and build bonds on the field and off the field, and I think it's just we just work really hard, and we all kind of want the same thing to make it farther and just do better. And I think the drive, everybody wants it, so it makes it more efficient and better.
I've got a question for each one of you ladies. I love asking this, especially when the coach is present. What is the absolute maddest you've ever made coach during a game or practice?
Oh, there's so many.
I want
There's
each one
so
of them to
many
answer, so
times.
whoever wants to go
Mason,
first,
you
please
go
go
first.
first.
'Cause
Probably when I goof off and then he's trying to tell us to do something, I just continue to goof off. I think that's what I make him the most.
So this is
mad.
normal, day to day with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's a card.
I love it.
She keeps me honest. There's no doubt about that.
Well, since we live together, we're around each other a lot more. So I have a lot more opportunities to make him mad. But on
I
the
think we
field,
should have a special interview with just Lindsay about coach.
With
Let's
just
not.
me. I don't know. I'm usually listening to him. So I guess sometimes I don't listen very well, and he doesn't appreciate that.
She has to hear me all the time, so she does tend to tune out sometimes. And then again, she also has to hear about it after we get home. Everybody else gets to get away from me, and she has to continue to listen to it.
She's
So.
still taking the wrath.
Yeah.
Probably Macy, just goofing off at practice and not doing what we were supposed to do or during a game.
Gotcha.
Well, yeah, awesome. So let me do this. I think, obviously none of this takes place without a whole big support staff and other teammates. And so, Craig, maybe throw it back to you and just kind of talk about your program over here. Some of the other people, some of the assistant coaches, some of the people that deserve some of the pub also, if you want to take a minute and do some of that.
Yeah, Bobby Klein is my assistant coach. He's been with me for 6 years, I believe. I believe it's 6. It may be 7. The opening year, we had the head coach or sponsor, however you want to put it. Etowah County requires a teacher sponsor, and it was Donna Ingram. So we were able to start the program because she was willing to be that sponsor. And then she became a principal at another school, and Daniel Cook took over and has been with us ever since. And he's actually coming in and being more of a coaching part of it this year. He's got a daughter playing JV. So that's all been a big influence to that. And then I couldn't even begin to thank Chris Russell. Chris was probably one of the driving forces to start the program originally, and is always there for anything I need, whether it's to bounce ideas or talk about the health of the girls. He's our trainer, so it's always good to have him around. But everybody's important, but Chris has been really valuable over all the time.
Well, to interrupt you just a second, Chris also has a daughter, Taylor, is a senior.
Yes, Taylor's a senior, but we've lost her to an ACL.
Yeah, ACL, but we're talking about, I said it in the first one we did with Southside, the extraordinary senior class we have throughout Etowah County.
Yes.
She's another one that's signed to play at, where's she going to play?
She'll be going to Emmanuel.
Okay, she's going to play at Emmanuel College. So she's another young lady that's, going to play at the next level. Like I said, it's incredible, the senior class at Etowah County girls that we're putting together.
And I have two more that could have played college soccer if they had chosen to. But, it's not for everybody.
We actually posted her today on Average Joe's. She's going to make.
About Taylor?
All right. I guess just let's throw it to the girls to finish here. And so maybe some of your teammates that you've seen working hard is important. So as seniors, your leadership, right? So as leaders of the team, it's important to give some credit. Who's some of your teammates you're expecting to really step up and push and help you drive for this? I mean, we want to see you in the Final Four for sure this season. So who are some of those younger kids that you've been impressed with? I know it's early in practice, but just give us some insight on that.
Definitely Katie Giles. She's always putting in the work on and off season. Like, she's always running, always conditioning. I always see her at the gym. She's always willing to put in the work.
Same for me about Katie, but also Riley Dryner. Was it her ACL? Mm-hmm. She tore her ACL last year, but she came back this year wearing a brace and everything, and she's just pretty much blown me away with her foot skills and her speed. So I'm really proud of her.
And since Taylor tore her ACL this year, we've had to pull up some JV girls who are trying to play center back, and I think Bailey and Hallmark, they've done a really good job just trying to adjust and, like, I guess hold down the expectations that Taylor brought in and try to fill her shoes, and I think they're doing a good job of it.
Well, girls, I think, once again, I told the Soccer girls, they stole the show. I think y'all are a little bit nervous, it looked like, but y'all done excellent. Once we edit Craig out of this video, it'll be a much better video. But, Bo, you want to finish? You got anything?
Wise choice.
No, hey, you ladies, hard work you put in, I mean, it's not going unnoticed. We've actually had people message us about you guys, and I wish you guys all the best. And I'm pretty confident. I'm not a Vegas man, coach, but I bet you get that playoff win this year, my friend.
I'm hoping.
Yes, sir. Good luck to you ladies, and hey, man, just leave it all out on the field. We are on campus here at Glencoe High School, and we're with the men's soccer team this time. I'm going to let these two gentlemen introduce themselves at this time, starting with Coach.
I'm head coach Daniel Cornett.
I'm a sophomore in McClintock.
Well, welcome, guys, and this is our third interview we're doing, and our first time to have a celebrity on camera here, Mr. Daniel Cornett, who is well known throughout the county.
All I know to say is you're welcome.
And for his furniture commercial. Sorry, I was thinking about the commercials and laughing. So if you haven't seen his commercial, he's getting a shameless plug out of this.
Yes, thank you.
I'm probably going to get Josh to see if he can edit that in while you're talking about it. Yeah, you don't mind it, do you?
Oh, hey, bring it.
And
Bring
so, anyway, so yeah, just have a good time here. So welcome, guys. We're here preseason, so and we're talking with the girls. They're coming off a big season, and definitely want to take some time with you and kind of talk about your upcoming season. And Coach Cornett, we'll kind of turn it over to you if you want to talk about last season a little bit and moving into this season, expectations, and what we're going to see out of the Glencoe boys this season.
With us, we're kind of a little different. We're still building from the bottom. And I've been saying we're young for many years now. This will be our 5th year. And like Ian, started probably when he was in 7th grade. We had probably out of 11 starters, 7 of them were 7th and 8th grade. So those boys have now, I think this year we're going to turn that corner. And, those boys have finally kind of grown a little bit. We've kind of matured more. And I think we're going to see a switch this year. And this will be our year, I believe, that we really get it going. And I think we'll finish stronger. We're a lot faster. That's been our biggest kick. A 7th grade boy to a senior boy, that's a huge size difference. And so I think we're going to be able to compete, I think, with anybody we play this year.
You got a 12 or a 13-year-old battling an 18-year-old man.
Absolutely.
Play after play after play. That's tough.
Our inaugural year, 2018, was when we first started. Our golden boot, our top goal scorer, was a 7th grader. So, now he's grown up. AJ Amos, expecting big stuff out of him this year. We just got a lot of playmakers, I believe, this year that we've just really grown into. Those boys have finally grown into their bodies. And, in the boys' world, that helps out big time.
Well, I think, you're touching on a huge point over here in Glencoe and, 3A, right? And so, you finally, I hear you're talking about a JV team now.
Yes.
And so, you're changing a little bit of culture
Yes.
over here in Glencoe. So maybe talk about just the growth of your program, and that's where you're really winning some battles.
Yes.
I think now.
Yeah, we're finally getting some more kids over. And, the cool part about it is we're pulling kids that have never really even played soccer. And we're kind of developing them, and they're coming back every year, and they're getting better and better. And, for the first couple of years, that's all we could ask. Just let's be better than we were yesterday. And let's be better than we were last year. And every year you can see it's their stepping stones. Every year we're getting better. We're getting better. We were only 2 wins away from playoffs last year. And if you would have told me that, I would have laughed at you. But we really had a good come out year. And that's why I think this year we're going to be there. But the growth, and even in our youth program, we're starting to invest more in the boys. And I think we're about to see a really strong trend in the boys soccer over here at Glencoe.
So level of play, you definitely seen from where it started to now a huge increase.
Absolutely.
In just level of play.
Absolutely. Our physicality, our speed, our technique. A lot of these boys have put in extra time playing travel or whatever it be, or even going in the backyard. And it has really, this year has shocked me when, from our first practice, I was stunned. And all of us coaches were stunned by just the progression we've seen in a lot of these kids. So we're really excited to put this on the field and see what it comes out in the game.
Awesome. Well, Ian, so I think hopefully if you can remember your name, and your name is
Ian
okay,
McClintock.
well done.
You got
And
it.
so I think you give us some really insight if you dig deep here for us a little bit. But what's been the biggest? I've seen you at the club level and now and seen how much improvement you've had as a player. So talk about the learning curve and how you've had to overcome that learning curve and just the game of soccer. How it all applies to that.
Well, I started when I was 6 years old, just for a local team, not really playing much. Then I moved here to Glencoe, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do here in high school versus just playing for fun, where I used to live, where I had moved. And going into my first varsity game as a 7th grader, I didn't realize then how impossible that seems, and how really going into the 10th grade now, I feel like I'm just as big as these kids versus I'm this little kid playing against these grown men. I feel like the rest of my grade and the kids above me and below me a year, we're a lot more suited to play now. We can play fast, we can play strong, we can play with a lot more technique than we used to be able to. I haven't felt like we've lost many seniors. Maybe that's because I didn't know the guys as well until last year. We lost one who was our leader. But I've seen our juniors from last year really step up now, start to lead us. It really feels like a nice group we have.
Well, see, he does good as long as he can remember his name.
Once he gets rolling, he's pretty good.
Future president right here. I'm just going to go ahead and mark it right now.
So throw it back to Coach Cornett here. I mean, it sounds like you're almost overcoming a psychological barrier.
Absolutely.
This season too, because getting that feedback from him that they feel like physically that they're in the game.
It's when we first started, and he can attest to this. You always heard me say, "Listen, we've got to find the victories in the defeats," because there were L's on the board almost every game. And it's like, now we've got to dissect that and let's find some victories within that loss. And so now it's going to switch where we can really, catapult and get some W's and then and keep this thing going, because these guys have matured. And the benefit of this too is these guys have, when you have a core group that has played together and basically get the crap beat out of you, that puts a bad taste in your mouth. You want to wash that out fast. And they're all eager and chomping at the bit to get some W's on the board for us, and a lot of them, I believe.
So you think you kind of play the underdog role?
I think we can. I don't like putting the cart before the horse, but from watching practice and just seeing the speed and the development of these kids, I think we're right there at it. I think we're going to see a switch in the next 2 years, because Ian's a sophomore. Our sophomore class is strong, and our 9th grade class, we've got a couple in there that is strong. I think our juniors, we got some very strong juniors. And senior wise, we have not, like on the girls' side, they're losing 8 or 9. We're not we haven't really had a huge graduating class yet. So our first big chunk to graduate will be his sophomore class. So we've still got a couple more years to develop and really fit in this role and go.
Well, we don't want to come back over here in 2 more years. You still be like Tennessee rebuilding.
I think you ain't gonna have me on camera. I'll stick to the furniture commercials if you're still doing it. If I'm still saying rebuild in 2 years.
Well, Matthew, let's throw it over to you.
Yeah, so I'd like to hear like what you think are some of your biggest improvements since you first started this program until now. Like besides them just getting older, but what'd you say like some of the biggest improvements, like skill wise or?
Right. Probably maturity has been a huge one this year, and the leadership. We got a great, we only got about 3 or 4 seniors this year, but the younger guys are really taking a maturity role and really stepping up and getting the ball going. And I say it again, just our speed. We're just going to be able. We finally come into the speed, our maturity, and our skill is just. It's just at another level this year. And I think that's what's really going to catapult us to be victorious this year.
And then, I've always been like a big advocate for playing soccer for your school instead of club. So what would you say some of the biggest influences have been to go from club soccer to school soccer?
I think some of the biggest influences have been being able to just play with my team and my family, who I see these guys every day just going to school in the hallway. Those are my team. And really, coming from club, I wanted to play these people. I've been playing all year. I wanted to beat them. I wanted to go to Etowah. I wanted to go to Southside. I wanted to show those guys that, hey, we the Glencoe boys in club, but we've got it.
Matthew, we're not going to get you from hating club soccer, though. That's 2 out of 2 you're taking a shot at club soccer.
Hey, club is great. I think club is great, and a lot of my kids have been playing club, but just to hit on it, a lot of these kids have gone to school together since they were in kindergarten, and you just have a bond with those guys that can just translate onto a field. Then whereas club, you're just kind of throwing different schools together at one time. Now the talent's there, but there's just something about a bond there that you just want to go fight for that guy even harder. But club's great, but school ball, those friendships last forever.
Y'all act like you have to sell to me. Y'all forget that I have 4 state championships for guys in high, so you're going to have to sell me the high school component also. It's all, I love it all. It's just about being well-rounded as a player.
Yep, I agree.
And so, and so I think, to dive in a little bit outside the lines here at Glencoe High School and specific, just like Ian touched on a little bit, like he said, I didn't know what I was going to do in high school. So, Coach Cornett, you've been here long enough, you've seen it. Like, just having this program at Glencoe and the opportunity to provide for kids like Ian, talk about a little bit about that hat and the Glencoe community. And I always say I'm very impressed with how close-knit the Glencoe community is, and just touch base on, some of that stuff.
Yeah, kind of like I said earlier, we're pulling kids that don't even play sports, that have never even played a sport, and we're just like, hey, come on, play. And they're just developing. It gives them something to do, another outlet. And that's really probably one of the best things, to get involved in some sort of high school. It's just something.
And I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's some things that we get fought against. And I know you've heard it too, is, you're going to take away from my, players from this other sport.
Absolutely.
And you've seen different.
Absolutely. Soccer season runs right in correlation with baseball. Coach Talbot, I don't think we've pulled any baseball kids, because a lot of the players that we get weren't even playing, and we're just saying, hey, just come play. It'll be fun. Just come do it. And we're just pulling a bunch of kids that are basically going to go home at 3:00 every day and do nothing.
And give them a piece of high school athletics when they
absolutely
normally wouldn't. And get that well-rounded person that get the things out of it, because, like you talked about, I think you had a great perspective. You're not necessarily talking L's and W's when you're first starting this program. There's personal achievements and team achievements that are outside of that.
Right. And play in some sort of high school sport. Well, there's just something about it for your life perspective. Not that you're not better if you don't or you do. It's just, I don't know, to be around a group of guys with a team aspect in a team sport, to go every day on a field and I'm going to fight for you and I'm going to fight for you. It just brings a different mentality that, a lot of these kids will never see. And to get them out onto a field to experience it, that's probably one of the best things. And I hope that in 15, 20 years, they can look back and say, we didn't really win, but my gosh, I learned and I had a fantastic time doing it. that's the ultimate goal. We want to win, absolutely. But, in 20 years, is it going to will it have benefited you? Have you learned something for your life? The bond, your life goals, life expectations, and when in the future, that's what I've got a coach that to this day I see him, and he was my favorite coach ever, and couldn't tell you any drills that we ran at all. Couldn't even tell you our record, but I just loved being around him, and I still to this day it is the friendships, the bonds that we build, and it's just you see them, and that's all. That'll always be there.
That's on sports value. I'm gonna throw it to you, Bo. I guess we should ask the same thing. You want to recognize? I know you.
Oh yeah.
You got a crazy man, Michael Arthur, on the sideline.
I've got probably two of the best assistant coaches you could ever ask for: Michael Arthur and Anthony Bray. I can't. There's not words that what they do for this program, and not only the program but for the school. And Michael has been Michael and Christy both. You're talking about developing from the beginning. They've really invested in the youth part to really build this and to get this where we're going. Michael was a huge component in getting the boys program going.
You are lucky, and Anthony Bray is one of the coolest, most. If you could take a person, you're really fortunate to have Anthony on the team.
Just his mind and how his mind can see a soccer field and a scheme. You just don't find that here in Etowah County at all. And he can just dissect stuff, and he can see it completely different how any of us can see it, and then translate it to the kids for it to make sense. And Michael's the running Nazi. That guy, he could probably start right now and he'll be in Tennessee in about 2 hours running. That cat can just go, and he does a great job. And a lot of the speed that we've talked about, that's all him. How he conditions these boys and gets them going. That's Michael Arthur all day.
He's fired up on the sideline.
Yeah, he's animated.
I got a couple questions for Ian. The first one, take us through some of your workouts. Like, for those who don't know, like what you guys do. We're in a weight room, but just your workouts in general to prepare yourself off season and during season.
Well, to prepare myself off season, getting ready for club ball, I feel like it's best to just keep things simple, because that's where the soccer really is. It's not in fancy moves and shots, but it's in cone drills and just dribbling a ball and getting used to the feeling of it on your feet. And then moving into the season and getting into school ball, we've been slowly getting into drills with the new guys and scrimmages and finding out where everyone is. And just last practice, we had one of the funnest drills I've played all years, and where I've really felt like outside of the scrimmages, where it is a lot of new kids just running at the ball, but in this drill I could see all the things that they could bring to the team, the flashes of the players they could be.
No doubt. Next part of the question, Coach said something a minute ago that hit on me. He's like talking about 20 years from now. Mm-hmm. Who knows where Glencoe Soccer is going to be? I know you guys are obviously trending up, but you're going to be a big piece. If you look at this wall over here, you're going to be one of those big bricks in the foundation of this thing. Talk about that. You're going to a place that's not established, that doesn't have, quote unquote, dynasty going. And now you're going to be part of making something special here. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot to me to just be one of the first guys here. And I wasn't here the first year we played, but coming in that second year was when I got here, and seeing us grow up and just be together that whole time and just play. And eventually I see what our girls team's done. They're a few years older than us, and I see their #1 in the state, going to playoffs, cruising their way through the season, just on fire. And I'm thinking, looking through our guys, our freshmen, our sophomores, our juniors, once we get a bit older, I'm thinking we can do that. I really hope we can achieve that success.
Ian's come a long way from forgetting his name. Once
he gets rolling, man, he's really good.
Like I said, I gave him a compliment. His stock is up with me. He played club with us, and there was not a more improved player.
Oh, that's the truth. I could talk hours about. I mean, just watching him, just from playing with you guys, and this his mind.
He gets the credit. The credit goes to him because he's putting in the hard work.
Absolutely.
And being on the field extra, and so that that's a huge piece of this.
Yep.
The kids got to see. None of these kids are the ones sitting at home on video games.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And so these are the kids that are excelling, are the ones that are out there putting in the hard work.
Yep. I think Bill said something earlier. I think it's really important, and you touched on it, which is this is the things that prepare people for work.
Yeah.
Taking the butt chewings, adversity striking. How do you respond to it? Teamwork, continuity, all that stuff you're going to use once you get out of here.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's why I had zero problem. My child plays sports this year in high school, but I had zero problems when coaches really get in somebody. Because I promise you, Ian, and I don't know if you know this or not, you may have a job, you may not. You're going to have a boss. He's going to get on you bad one day, and you're going to have a sick kid at home. Your wife views into it, and you're having a bad day. It's how you respond to it, what makes your character.
Yep, absolutely.
True story.
Absolutely.
You guys got anything
I'm
else?
good. Thank you guys.
Coach, I appreciate you. Thank you guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you.